Welcome back to Ethereal Material, where the mystical meets the practical.
We are Priscilla and Carla, two professional mediums discussing the gap between the seen and the unseen.
All topics are on the table for dissection. And today we're talking to Lisa Cito about mandalas.
Which are beautiful and cool. And when I hear mandalas, hi, welcome, Lisa, I think about the things
Thank
that
you.
monks have done, the giant sand ones with the colored
Yes.
sand, and then they sweep
Yeah.
away. Is that
Mm-hmm.
is that a mandala?
100%.
Huh.
Right. And they sweep it away because they want to represent the sort of the non-permanence of existence. So that's why they take all that time. It could take
Yeah.
them months to create that piece, and they do it together in a little community. And you'll make that piece, and somebody next to you'll make that piece, and then they come out with this massive, beautiful mandala made of sand, and then they all kind of ceremoniously brush it away.
It's
Yeah.
amazing to me. No, a place you don't care for very much. And
What?
it's at a spiritualist church.
Oh, I know exactly. I was like, what do you know about? Yeah, I
They
know.
had one of those. Some Buddhist monks had visited and created. It had to have been 5 feet in diameter. This
Yeah.
intricate, symmetrical, beautiful,
Yes.
sand designs, and then it was gone. And I don't know that I would be able to sweep away after something I worked so hard at.
I know.
They leave those out, do you know? Is
I
it
don't
like
know.
make them and then look at them and honor them and meditate for a couple days, or is it 5 minutes later? Does anyone know?
It's not long. It isn't long. I mean, maybe they'll take a couple of days, but it takes them a really long time to complete it. And then they just maybe a couple of days, and then they just do. But then again, it's ceremoniously sweeping it away. So you realize that nothing is permanent, and everything is
Oh, good
fleeting.
point.
I can be such a
Yeah.
perfectionist. I think that would make
Me
me,
too.
I wouldn't want anybody else, and I'd be like, you're not doing it right, or you're not doing it well enough, and then
Yeah.
I want to like memorialize it, capture it, I'm gonna pour shellac over it or something. It would be hard for me to let it go.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. And then, the other thing is like, okay, so let's take a picture of it. But then that defeats the whole purpose too. I don't
Right.
think you're allowed to take
Right,
pictures
right,
because
that's
there it
true.
is. Now it's permanent. But yeah, no, I have a hard time with that too.
So
Yeah,
in
I
the
don't think I
mandala
would.
classes that you teach,
Yeah, they're permanent.
they're permanent.
So tell us a little bit about, well, I want to hear how you started with this, but just
Okay.
for listeners, tell us what you teach. Describe.
Okay. Right. So these workshops they're called the Mandala Meditation Workshops. And so in the class, it could be a 2 hour or a 3 hour class, depending upon what other add-ons, I had in the class and, and the audience. But what we do is I like to do right brain, left brain. So where you've got your logical brain, where you have the specific lines that you have to draw. We use, remember the old compasses from school when we were little with the pencil on one end and then a little
Yeah.
pointy thing on
Yes.
the other end. And actually, actually use those. If I don't have enough, then we'll use like cups and little
Right.
plates and stuff to create the circles. You want them to be precise and symmetrical. So, and then you make a specific lines, you're making a cross, and then you do two other corner to corner lines. Everyone starts with this. So that's the left logical brain side, right?
Huh.
And then there are many different other tools we use. So there's large paintbrushes, medium-sized ones, small ones for detail when you start to get into the painting. And then you start out still sort of left brain, like, your coloring books, you want to color inside the lines, right? And sometimes you can't, sometimes you're outside the line and you're like, oh my God, I'm outside the line, so you'll start out inside the lines. And it's interesting to see how people react to this. Like some people are very frustrated with this. Other people are like, no, this is good. You know what I mean? So it all depends on who you are, but it's fascinating for me to watch and listen and interact and see their interaction together with all the different types of personalities that are doing left brain. And then you get into the right brain. And then some people go completely rogue, which is really fun. So it's like, okay, so you make the lines and now, okay, you're going to pick your colors and then and I give you all symbols. There are maybe like 10 different little symbols to choose from that are typical in a mandala, right? There'll be like triangles, lotus flowers, half lotuses, pointy ones, all these different circles, swirls, and so on. And so everyone chooses whatever they want. and they choose to place them wherever they want to in their mandala. So it isn't necessarily coming out as completely symmetrical, which is like the original mandala, idea that it's
Right.
the universe, like where Om is the sound of the universe. So mandalas are geometrical shapes, which represent the shapes of the universe and the physical aspect of the universe. So like the flowers and so on. But
one-on-one. I'm going to interrupt for a second because
please
I'm gonna
do.
go and listen to this.
I
and
can,
I'll-
because I go off too on.
No, you're not. But I realized I want to know when someone signs up for these classes. I mean, I'm sure their intention signing up may become a completely different experience, and they're like, "Wow, I thought it'd be X, Y, and Z, and I've learned this." But when someone signs up, what do you think their mindset is? What are they looking to achieve when they sign up? Do you have any?
That's yeah, I love that. That's a really interesting question because I started out, doing this in wellness centers. I'm like, okay, we're going to do this. It's mandala meditation. So you're not just coming to a meditation class and you're not going to an art class because a lot of people, if you're not an artist, you're scared of like, well, I don't want to do that. So, the people in the initial classes at the wellness centers, I don't think they knew exactly what to expect. I know they didn't know we were going to be drawing and we were going to do left brain, right brain, even though I do try to explain it a little bit, beforehand, or have someone write it down in the little description. But I do think everyone's surprised. And what happened was all of a sudden it started to become, in some places, can we do a paint and sip? Okay. So you guys have been to paint and sips, right?
Yeah.
So then people started to bring their own alcohol. We had snacks, so then it shifted. And in these particular situations, it was a little bit of a different experience. So then they became paint and sips, and it was a little more work maybe than a regular paint and sip. But as soon as everybody got into it, it's like, I believe everyone at the end is surprised to see what they've created. Because I do think they're not sure what to expect no matter what. You know what I mean? I think it's always a surprise.
Is there some sort of interpretation that you do for them when they're done with their mandala?
Yeah, exactly. So I try not to mention anything about what the colors mean or what the symbols mean. In the beginning, I like to wait till the very end because I don't want to inform anybody. Oh, well, maybe I should put that color because I want to be seen as so-and-so, you know what I mean? So I don't want to have any of that. So I wait till the end and then that's what happens. It's like, okay, so, you have mostly orange here and there's only a little bit of green. And, so then we get into what those colors, interpreting the symbolism of the colors and the shapes that they chose as well. Yeah. Yeah. And
is there some interpretation also for like the placement in the mandala? Like, is there, feng shui or any like the upper right quadrant or anything? Does that?
Oh, did you say feng shui? Did you just say feng shui? Oh my God, I love feng shui.
I don't know much about it. I know a couple of things about it.
Classes on feng shui.
You did?
Yeah, but it was math and I had to start.
Okay, yeah, well, there is some math, and oh my God, I'm studying it. It's like, but I have so many books on feng shui. I love that. That'll be, oh my God, so fun. But it's funny that you mention that. But yeah, I don't get in too much about the placement of it. It's more the symbols that you chose, because they can make them smaller or larger to fit in certain areas. I wanted to say it's interesting to have, it's mostly women that attend these classes, right? So that makes sense, right? But every now and then there's a guy that comes in and, it always shifts the energy a little bit, right? But it's always interesting to see the guy's piece. They're very, it's just interesting to see the colors they choose. There's a lot of browns and greens in different places with different men. I'm finding that's like it's very interesting, I thought.
Can this be kind of an art therapy? Like, are you an art therapist?
Well, thank you for bringing that up because I am not an art therapist. I'm not a therapist or an artist, but I am. So my background is all wellness based. So I started out as in the fitness world many, many years ago. Then I discovered yoga and I got certified and was teaching yoga. Then I discovered Ayurveda. So I started studying Ayurveda and then health coaching. And so got my certifications in those. And but I've always loved painting and doing my own art. And I did go to school for art and, but I didn't like get a degree.
Right.
I went to like Westchester Community College, and then I went many years later. Once, okay, I'll tell you when I found out about this guy, I was at this Ayurvedic retreat with Deepak Chopra studying, to get my certification in Ayurveda. And they had different activities that you can choose to do. And the one I chose was, there was this guy, like, he was doing sort of interpretive art. So I went into he is an artist and a therapist, and both his parents were like psychiatrists. This guy's from California. Such a cool guy. So I went into his class, and he did this crazy thing that can create, everybody made the same box, and then you put it in the middle, and then you drew like lines or whatever, and then he would interpret what you drew, and it was, you learned so much about yourself. It was fascinating. So then years later, I always thought about it. And then not that long after that, I found an art therapy class. And I thought, I want to be an art therapist. It's a lot of school. It's a lot of school, especially now. It's very, very long. You have to have a master's degree and all that kind of stuff to be like an art therapist. But I was like, okay, so then I went and took the certification art class from him, the Mandala art class certification. I do my classes different than he taught them. But that's what I got very excited about, this whole art thing. So I call it therapeutic art. So I don't call it art therapy because I don't think I can anyway.
Right.
So, but I call it therapeutic art. And I add different aspects of art in a lot of my, not all, but in a lot of my wellness classes that are not all mandala based, but they're wellness based. And I do have very often some aspect of art in there for meditation and for going deeper into your own psyche. I mean, it's therapeutic. Yeah. And
so that makes me, so I have at an earlier version of my life, I think any of us in the kind of the new age or metaphysical field, we evolve through different, stages of what we're exploring and practicing. And before I was working as a psychic medium, I was working as a hypnotist. And in New York, I'm not a therapist either. We can't call ourselves hypnotherapists in New York. So hypnotist was the title. But, I found myself, and I wonder if you did too sometimes, find yourself in a position where you had, let's say, an abreaction that you had to kind of manage. I had someone, and hypnosis, the way that I was practicing it, and for this particular client, was very, was our first session. It was very much kind of the power of positive thinking positive, building hope and faith in yourself. And this guy called me, I think 19 times the next day to tell me that hypnosis had opened a gateway to hell for him. And I was like, first of all, call 911 because not my, but and then also, kind of like, well, no, this is a very positive thing. And I wonder if you've had anybody react to the therapeutic art they're doing that either alarmed you secretly or alarmed the person who is doing it. Did you ever encounter any shock or maybe not something quite that dramatic, but
well, that's very interesting. Not that I know of, no one said anything to me. I don't know if anything's happening behind the scenes and they're not telling me but I have had people come and very often the people that go rogue with the art part of the mandala making, I are autistic, which I always thought was very interesting. And their pieces are amazing. And they're like, everyone's sort of in kind of a little bit of a similar, because we start out the same and you're looking at, this is an example. Like, for example, this will be like an example, right? Of like a mandala, just an example that they would take from. But then I'm going to send you pictures of like these really amazing rogue pieces. But no, I haven't had anything like that. But I do. It's interesting because once I found out about these mandalas, then I started, looking it up and studying it on my own. Where do they come? Why, what's the deal with this?
Mm.
Why is this guy, that's all he does is mandalas. His are like this, though. Let me show you this real quick. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Wow.
I made this when I was in California, and
Wow.
it's like very elaborate, not like the basic ones that, most of us come out and make. That's like that. This takes like 20. This one was like, takes like, 28 hours, 30 hours to make something like that. So that was like very intricate. But I started studying it, and then you guys know Carl Jung, right?
Mhm.
The Swiss psychiatrist. Well, he's the one that brought mandalas to the West in 1916. All
Really?
right. Yeah, yeah. And
Huh.
what happened was, so he was together with Freud, and they were working together. And then they had a little bit of like a difference in, they left, he left. They were working together, and then they had some differences in opinion for psychiatry and for therapy. So he was kind of devastated to leave. This was like his mentor and partner, sort of. Then he was devastated to leave to leave Freud, and then started his own practice. And he found that he would a lot of dreams, and he would be dreaming about things like mandala shapes, geometric shapes. And he started drawing mandalas. And he found that instead of running away from issues, that he would run, like, sort of go into them. And then he found that drawing these mandalas, but intuitively, like he wouldn't do like the way I do it in my classes with the left brain, right brain. This is not intuitive as you're drawing the structure,
Mm.
but then it is when you choose the colors and the shapes and where you're going to place them. But you can also just make them freehand, is a whole nother way to do it, which is what Carl Jung was doing. He was doing his freehand. But then all of a sudden you do see that he started to do these structures, which I didn't see right away. And I was doing it myself. I did learn that in California about, drawing the lines, but I went like a little further with it because he also did tracing, and I'm not doing any tracing. But anyway, that's where, so to me, that was fascinating. So Carl Jung says that they are devices where you can go deeper into your psyche, right? Now, most of the time, well, first of all, mandala means circle. It means magical circle, right? And it also means wholeness from beginning to end, right? So, or a continuation. So, there's loose interpretations of mandala, but basically it means circle. And some people say magical circle. And it's got to do, of course, with geometry. But he found that he started doing these, and it helped him feel better. And he would do one every morning, and it would show him the state of his mind each day. And then he would see what the state of his mind was later on or the next day. And he had all of his clients or students or whatever, also make them on the regular.
Mm.
And so his idea was that they are just the act of drawing this mandala and the shapes that go along with it is meditative, and it takes you away from kind of your thinking mind
Right.
into your subconscious, and then you look at it and interpret it later on. And so I think it's interesting that you brought that up about, some with the hypnosis, and the
Yeah.
guy's like, well, that brings me to the, whatever, like call 911. But yeah, because I mean, something like this, even no one has said anything to me like that before, because my classes, even though you're learning something, I find them to be informative. I always make them lighthearted and fun.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Because I feel like we really need that anyway. So I want them to be experiences of fun, but
Mhm.
also learning something about yourself or just about something.
Have you
But I
ever
mean,
had couples work on one together?
oh my gosh, it's so great that you mentioned that. We actually,
That would be, I mean, I think I
I
think that could
mean,
be really, no matter how much you love your partner, like if you're painting a room together or you're, raking the lawn together, everybody
oh,
has a different process, even if their end goal is the same.
oh my gosh. I have to tell you that that is so cool that you're asking that question because I actually created a class for Valentine's Day at this one at the Wellness Center in Ridgefield that I, would teach us sometimes. It's like, let's do something for Valentine's Day. You do your thing. So she was going to do like a couple massage, you know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. And then I said, okay, so what can I do, with this? I was like, let them make a mandala together. We'd have one canvas and still do, this is how you start and do the whole upper. And that was but you know what? It never came to fruition. We didn't ever have the class.
Mm.
We'd never had it, but I created
No.
it for that.
What might be interesting is also have couples and have them each do their own and actually look at the vast differences in
Yeah.
them or the similarities and
Right,
then see
right.
how they can blend
Yeah.
them together. That could go very deep into other
I
things
love that.
therapeutic.
Yes.
Question, when you picked up the two mandalas, do you find that when people are doing them and choosing their colors, or do you feel there's a connection to the chakras and the mandalas and the colors?
Yeah, I do 100%. In fact, that's how I do my interpretation.
Okay.
That's because I want to say like you did, this is associated with your sacral center, so, and I do believe that that's the connection. I do. I do. I think when you're drawn to certain colors, that's where I feel like it comes from your whole energy center,
Right, what needs to be
from the
worked
chakras.
on,
Right.
cleared, or it's fabulous, depending. That's
Right.
amazing. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Imagine it would
Yeah.
be very empowering because we all look at ourselves and judge ourselves through a lens that we're familiar with, and to
Mm.
have someone else in a lighthearted way point out that the way something that isn't critical or judgmental. Oh, I see you used a lot of blue here. Maybe that means you're communicating really well, or what, to
Right.
see someone else interpret a subjective
Mhm.
expression, that I can imagine that would make a person go home and just start the wheels turning a little bit more, and appreciate something, or even acknowledge something maybe that they haven't spoken out loud about.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. You're right. Start them thinking about,
Do you tend to have
let me
like
check.
a series, like so people can grow and interpret through, or do you tend to have repeat clients, customers, or is it more kind of we'll just come and see what we see about ourselves, and not like a structured sort of growth through.
Right. Right. Well, I love that. And that's one thing that I feel like, so what happens is it all depends on, the group, right? Because there's some people that do just come for the paint and sip and they'll do it once and they'll be good. They'll be like, oh, that was fun. You know what I mean? And you tell them a couple of things and they're not ready, I guess, or it's not in their wheelhouse to think, oh, let's find out more about this. There's some people that don't care. Right.
Yeah, that's true.
But then they are the other people who are fascinated. And I've done like a group, like I'll go to people's homes and do this. But again, it's a fun thing, like for the girls to get together and have this, fun thing. But then they are fascinated. And it's so, again, interesting that you say that, because for me, if I would go to a place like this and they're telling me, oh, like when I found out what that guy interpreted my picture at that Chopra event, and I was like, oh my God. And I followed him and I wanted to know more. Right. So this is what I would like for people to be. And some people have, but then just, to make the appointment, and I have to just be it's got to be more kind of, there's so many things that I do in different classes that I teach, but I also do a chakra evaluation. So, which can be something you can use with this. Like, let's say you come to take the class. So I have had some people want to know more about it, but I want there to be more people that want to know more about it. Do you know what I mean? And like go a little deeper about what does that mean? Because I'll do a little thing, at the end, and there's a lot of people, so you can't spend too much time with each person. So you have the few that are, I really want to know more about this. And then they'll come to me and we'll talk more about it and do some
Yeah.
other things together. But that's kind of one of my, like, I mean, I want them to have a great time, but I always want them to learn something. But a part of my goal is too, to have them want to know more and go a little deeper and to learn a little bit more about, it and themselves and stuff. But yeah,
Pretty
so
eye-opening.
It is. And
yeah.
maybe some people would want like a part two. If you've done part
Yeah.
one, go to a Mandala part two class, something like that.
I have a client
Yeah.
who works for the VA, and she is an art therapist, and she will occasionally have mandala workshops for them. She hasn't, told me anything, you know, that seems to stand out in any sort of, just that she does this is what I'm trying to say. I haven't
Oh
really
yeah, no,
talked a
I'd
lot
love to
about it,
hear more about,
but I can
how she
imagine
does them and
with veterans who we know
oh,
sometimes struggle with PTSD or
yes.
levels of abuse, especially if they're women. I volunteer for the Barbara Giordano Foundation, which is
Oh,
um, target which supports women veterans, because often these veterans come out of the service where they have been sexually harassed or
mm,
assaulted. They don't get the same. I think our soldiers don't get great services anyway after they
oh,
come serving this
yeah,
country,
that's got to
but
change. That's
women
just,
tends to
yeah,
be even less. So I'd love to put you in touch with Virginia Giordano, who runs this.
love
It's
that.
his name, but I've done some work with her,
Love that.
and the women veterans are they're so open. They're the kind of people who would say, well, what does this say about me? And how can I take
Mm,
this information and
yeah.
ease my pain or make my life better or make my children's lives better?
Right,
Some
right,
of them
right.
are
Oh my
single
gosh.
mothers or, come out of domestic abuse, and just really have lost themselves in some way. And
Oh
I
my
think
gosh.
especially in the
Yeah.
military, which I've never been in the military, but my understanding is part of the goal is to break down the individuality and build up, you're one of the core. And I
Right,
think
right.
and then you're sort of like, okay, thanks for your service, bye. And you're like back in
Yeah.
civilization going, well, where's my core and who am I?
Oh, it's so crazy. It's so,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, I would love that. And yeah, exactly what you're saying, you're describing. Like the whole reason why years ago when I started my business, which is Vibrant Glow Wellness, my idea was, okay, women, and you just said about how women, the women soldiers and women in general, we're the ones who will, if we learn and grow and become our best self, we're the ones that will help our kids and our husband and our friends. So like we make the world a better place, right? That's how I really believe. We help the men and the people and everybody. So that's why I was like, we do, even not being in service, but that's got to be so intense. I can't even imagine, being in service. I love the veterans. I would love so much to be involved in that.
I'll
But
definitely connect
yeah,
you guys after
yeah.
our podcast, because Virginia's always looking for ways to serve these women.
Oh, I
So
love that. I love it so much.
yeah.
Yeah. And that's the whole thing about the Vibrant Glow Wellness thing is like my logo is like it's like a lotus flower.
Mm.
It's like you have the mud down underneath, right? And you got this stuff that's stuck inside of you that maybe, you used to, when you were little, maybe you had it or maybe not. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you're squelched from really being little. But stuff is stuck down here and you have to do whatever it is, the work that you have to do that's resonating with you to kind of shake it up, loosen it up and bring it up so you can bring it out, like let go of hot, whatever it has to let go of. And then you can, shine like your true self out, you start to understand yourself better and
Yeah.
then, create like who you want to be and that kind of thing. So I love that so much.
So in the video version of our podcast, we're going to put up all your contact information and your website. But for those people who are listening to the audio version only,
Mhm.
will you just kind of slowly spell out what your website is, where you're located, your phone number or email, if you want to give people that, and what you offer?
Oh, sure, sure. So my name is Lisa Cito. So Lisacito, and the name of my business is Vibrant Glow, GLO Wellness. And the number is 914 447-8396. And
And do you have
so
a
it's,
website or
I do, yeah, it's Vibrant Glow Wellness with just one W.com. vibrantglowwellness.com. Yeah, and you can see everything is on there, my bio, all the types of workshops that I teach. I mean, I still teach yoga. But the workshops are really I just feel like they're good for everyone. Anyone can join and anyone can do them.
are they
And
virtual? Do you have virtual?
I don't yet, but I've been trying to figure that out. I'm trying,
Doing
I
them
just
on
have to
Zoom,
figure out how to do them.
like on Zoom or anything like this?
Yeah. And that's got to be my next step. I would love to do that. And
So
I have series.
you're based in Ridgefield, Connecticut?
Well, actually, no, I'm based in Somers, New York,
Oh, okay.
but I teach at many different wellness and other types of locations.
Okay.
You know,
And I think you mentioned earlier, you do go to people's homes and do private gatherings.
yeah, I do. So that's available as well, especially for the Mandala class, because again, it's become a paint and sip too. So
Yeah.
it's fun, but it's yeah. And I do have some great pictures to send you, which I'm excited to send you photos of, like people holding their mandalas up so you
Yeah.
can see them. Do you need pictures like that?
Sure. We
Like
could
from the
show
class?
a couple of them on the
Or,
video version, and for people who are listening to
oh,
audio only, they can go to your website. I'm sure you have some examples up there.
yeah, there's a ton of photos on the website.
Cool.
Yeah.
So what would you suggest before we close here that people might do to kind of break the ice with mandalas? There's something like Carl Jung did, which is to just draw every morning in a free-form style and see if they recognize elements of themselves in that, or how can people start to explore on their own?
Yeah, I do. I think I feel like researching it a little bit, is always nice because it gives you an idea if you've never researched it before, and then you'll see all these things pop up. Carl Jung and some other, there are all these different versions of mandalas. There's the Native American ones, there's, the
Yeah.
Eastern ones, even in Christianity and all the religions, you see some version of mandala or geometric
Sure.
shapes.
Yeah, that's
But
cool.
I think, yeah, I love the idea of doing what Carl Jung did, which just go ahead and draw something, maybe see some images, that you can find and to give you an idea of how to start. And one thing about mandalas that's cool is like the center. Now the center is supposed to be the beginning of you. And then as you grow outward, that's like, your childhood, your adolescence, and that kind of thing as you grow out. So I think that's very interesting. So just kind of, but I also think it's nice to do it intuitively, where you're just going to try not to think about it and just go ahead and just start drawing and see what comes up. And then you can either interpret it by looking it up or have somebody help you interpret it. But yeah, I think and I really think any kind of drawing or that kind of thing also just helps to calm your mind. And yeah.
Thank you, Lisa. We appreciate you taking your time to talk to us and sharing, the wow stuff we like to hear about and things that aren't in our wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I
thank you.
love it. You guys are great. Thank you so much for having me.
It
I
was
can't
so
wait to talk
great
to you
to talk to
soon.
you. Yep. And this will be going up today. It's Friday on the May 1st. So we're going to putting this up this afternoon. And for those people who are listening, if you go to YouTube to Ethereal Material, you can watch this here, and we'll have cut in, Lisa's contact information. But if you have not, or if you're only listening to it auditory wise, pause right now, go get a pen and paper and write down. Her name is Lisa Cito, Cito. Her website is vibrantglowwellness.com, GLO, just there's no W at the end of glow, Vibrant Glow Wellness. Her phone number is 914-447-8396. And it was such a pleasure to have you. I learned a lot about the history of mandalas, which I did not know. and
He's told me, but now it's committed to memory.
oh yeah, you guys know each other. Long time,
Yeah,
right,
we
right.
do.
Well, I'm meeting you for the
That's why
first
I'm being
time.
quiet. I'm like, oh, I'll let you guys meet. I know them.
Well, it was
I love
wonderful to
it.
talk to you, and thank you so
Same
much.
here.
Thanks, Lisa.
And for all of our people listening to us at Ethereal Material,
Keep believing
keep questioning.
and keep in touch.
Bye-bye.